Know you are. You're the most beautiful thing in the world. If he won't tell you, then you know I will, girl. If you got nothing, you have these words. I'm your girl. Know you are. Beautiful thing in the world. Ooh, I'm a girl. Ooh, these words.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Talk to Me Tuesday. I'm your host, Tajah, the Mindset Coach. Ooh, tonight is interesting. This is our first show with just men. So ladies, get ready, okay? We're talking about their take on submissive. So last season, we talked with the women on, why do we as Black women always get labeled with we're not submissive or submissive enough, or we're not just a submissive woman? What does it mean? Well, let's hear from our men. So tonight I got three lovely guests. If you'll start off introducing yourself. Hi, James.
Hello, Tajah. Hello, audience. My name is James Clinkscales. By profession, I'm a CPA. I'm also a business owner. Met Tajah a couple of months ago. Our children know each other. We've come to be very good friends. I've been married to my beautiful wife, Arlene, for 12 years. And I have 5 children, sometimes 6 or 7, depending on the month and the year. We do tend to take on additional family members and friends that need help. And look forward to being here, and look forward to sharing my thoughts and really learning about this awesome topic. Thanks for having me.
Of course. All right. Glad to have you too. Hi, Kevin.
Hey, how are you doing? Thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of this awesome forum. I'm really looking forward to the insight that I'll receive. So if you see me writing notes, it's because I'm stealing from all these brilliant minds that are here with us this evening. My name is Kevin Colin. I'm a pastor of First Missionary Baptist Church in Goodlettsville, Tennessee. I've been a pastor for about 9 years now. It's a small congregation, but it's a congregation that is wrapped in love. Prior to becoming a pastor, my vocation was in athletics. And so I spent 30 years in the field of intercollegiate athletics, working with young people. And so as I departed from that phase in my life, I was the associate athletics director at Vanderbilt University. And some of the responsibilities that I was charged with was overseeing our football program, our baseball program, our women's bowling, for anybody that's out there that loves bowling, and our track and field. And of those sports, I was fortunate enough to lead them to 5 bowl games, to 3 national championships, Division I, NCAA national championship, 2 in baseball and 3 in women's bowling. And so at the core of who I am now a champion of Christ, but before that I was a champion and graduated my undergrad from Iowa State University in communications. And so all of that wraps up to bring me with this wonderful disposition and perspective of Christianity and working with men and women and young people. So I'm excited. Thank you for allowing me to be here. I hope I didn't take too long to wrap up 50 some odd years of experience.
It's okay. We love it. All right. How about you, Terrence?
Well, I'm not going to do that much. I put my drink up, Pastor. I'll put that away. But I am a business owner. I'm getting ready to get married to my beautiful fiance. Hey, boo. And I'm ready to basically talk about the topic a little bit. I could talk about myself all day and it could be longer, but I'm more determined to talk more about the topic today. I have my experience with women before, and I have my own little thing about a woman being submissive.
Okay. All right, then look, you gonna let us go ahead and get started.
Yes.
So before we even jump into what you all think it means to be submissive, why do you think that it's such a hot topic for men, especially our Black men? Why is it that we as women, hear so much from men saying Black women aren't submissive, or not submissive enough, opposed to other racial groups? What is your take on that? Like, why do our men speak on it so much?
I feel like it's used as an excuse. I don't feel, I don't, first off, the real question, do we think we should have a submissive woman? And I don't think we should. That's my belief, fellas. I wouldn't want to raise a daughter or have my child see their mother never have a way to respond to something that's not right. Like, that's not a leader. Just because I'm the man shouldn't be able just to lead her, even though it might not be smart. So you have a lot of guys out there that's leading, families into the wrong location. I mean, wrong area just because the wife is submissive. That's not good. So, and a lot of reasons why is that other coaches are doing that because they're strict to their Quran, their Bibles, or reasons why a woman should be always behind them. I feel like there should be definitely a team.
Okay. What's your take?
I'll go next. For me, submissive does not necessarily reflect standing. Submissive really, the way we've been grown up and from a Christian perspective, is that submissive means that there's a feeling of self-respect, mutual respect, I would say understanding and clarity, support, love. Those are areas that we look at as far as when we talk about being submissive. Our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ died on the cross for us, so we have a sense of freedom. We have, who the Son set free is free indeed. So we have a sense of freedom, being Christian men, and we want our women, Christian women, to have that same sense of freedom, and they do. They do have a sense of freedom. I would say for the most part, and the pastor I think would agree with me, that we use submissive probably not in the same light that the world uses submissive. We use submissive to be, hey, my wife knows, hey, I'm the leader. She looks to me as being the leader, but she is definitely a co-leader. We talk about things all the time, talk about decisions. And when Christ joined us together in marriage, he created one, and we tend to act like one. We finish each other's sentences. I would say we think a lot alike. We collaborate a lot. But she would say to you that, hey, if there's a leader, yes, I am the leader, but she is definitely like a co-leader. We co-parent, but she looks to me to be an authoritative type leader, and that's fine. But from a submissive standpoint, it's definitely not slavery.
Right.
It's not like that. Submissive just means that, hey, I have a mutual respect for you. I have a mutual understanding and love for you. And I'm not going to tread over you or tread on you because I respect and love you as a person.
And I really can agree with both points, right? Because I think what Terrence is expressing on his view of the submissive part is typically what we hear from men, especially Black men, that lead conversations on this topic. It's in the sense of what you were saying, James. It shouldn't be like slavery, like no, you have no say so, right? Always needing to be behind. Sometimes more of what kids used to be phrased as, seen but not heard. And today, or just anytime, I don't think That's the way. And I don't think that it's necessarily tied to a religion. It is perspective, because I am Muslim, which is a different faith than, you know, you all. However, it's the same. And what gets misconstrued is cultural differences. So here in America, it's going to be different the way Islam is practiced opposed to in another country where their entire system is ran differently, right? America is the only country that has this democracy. There are going to be different ways that we come together and do things as men and women opposed to another country, especially an Islamic country. So that's something that one has to take heed of when they are saying things as if women should be submissive like, because that means also then, okay, well, are the men here like the men there? There are differences. And if women have to be held to a certain standard that they assume, then what is the question then of men? Right? Because submissive, go ahead, Terrence.
So I feel like it's broader because you're looking at culture. So when you look at culture from here on the standpoint, we have systems that are deflected on how Black men are to be treating women, period. And not just their women, but women around. And me being a father, you know, the system of how I can raise my son is different than an Islamic country. They're not using the court building to do that. You leave your child from in that family, you're looked upon different. I'm not trying to leave my son. However, the system in this world in America is paying some money into a court system. That's taking care of your child. Whereas in my belief, taking care of my child is being able to be with my child, seeing my child every day. So the cultural difference that you're talking about is also what the systems they have here to break Black families. So a lot of times you hear the submissive word, listen, it's mostly of an excuse of why they can't be with one woman. Usually the people that say, oh, Black women not submissive is because they can't handle a Black woman. Usually times you see that guy usually a young boy, they're not a young man. And they're dealing with, I don't know your audience, but they're dealing with white women. And that's how I feel about it. But it's a cultural difference. It's not about, oh, we need more women to be submissive. It's more of a, I can't get over this woman, so let me deal with this woman. I'm not beat for what she's telling me, or I don't want to do what she want me to do. Let me move over to this other girl. And then let's figure that out. So that's how I see it. That's how it is.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay.
What did I miss?
We were at, Terrence was just talking about his take on why he feels that, well, certain men that talk about submissiveness. If James, you want to follow up, that way Kevin could just get in the flow, and then I'll say my piece on it.
Yeah, and really, from our perspective, and when I say our, my wife and I, the word submissive itself is rarely used, but to a certain degree, I understand why it's used in certain contexts. And for me, and again, I believe for most Christian men, and men in general, it's about respect. There should be a mutual understanding, mutual respect, mutual love. My wife, again, looked at me as being a leader of our family, but again, she's a co-leader. We make decisions together. She understands my perspective. I understand her perspective. We as men, we got to listen, and women as well. Women have to listen to their men. God brought us together, and that union again created the one. We're one, and to a certain degree, we say we're one against the world. Yes. because the world wants to bring us apart. Everything you look at in the world, is glorifying and putting glamorous status on things that are not really meaningful, and that's what the world wants you to do. They want to focus and looking over here while, Satan is busy doing his other thing over there. So some of this that we're dealing with is like a distraction. No, if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing as a husband, as a man, you don't have to worry about, who's submitting to who. Seriously, it shouldn't even come to that. I'm gonna respect you as a person. I'm gonna respect my children even, but my children still know I'm a leader.
Mhm.
They still know I'm the head, but I respect what they say. Hey, we have to let the children talk. We have to let, the wives talk. The men got to get in here. And to a certain degree, Black men, yeah, we're under attack. I mean, we are seriously under attack. Laws, and to my man's point, laws, rules, and regulations in this country have been set up to a certain degree against Black men. So we're gonna have to overcome, even in the corporate area. I spent 25 years in corporate, and there is a sense of how things are treated for Black men and for Black women. I think it's a little different. I think there's a less of a fear factor with Black women, and there's more of a fear factor with Black men. And I think, and some of that carries over into the personal side as well. So you go from the corporate and from the business side, and it carries over into what? Your schools, the whole discipline thing, the percentage of Black boys being disciplined versus other genders or races. It's not a coincidence. It's just something that we have to overcome. And I think it's okay to say, hey, you're the leader of your family. I don't think you necessarily have to use a word that the world sees as being derogatory or negative. No, don't use it. Don't use it. Because the world's going to interpret it totally different than maybe what your intention was.
Exactly. I mean, I think you made some key points, right? As far as, first, I'll start with the fact that as a marriage, as a union, Terrence, as you come into this, right, being engaged, you shouldn't have to defend what's necessary. And what's necessary is that union, that bond, that love, that commitment. And again, that's going to be in whatever faith, because again, I am Muslim, very different from you all. But in the sense, it isn't, right? It's different how we practice something, but the faith is the same, right?
Amen.
The essence of being charitable, being modest, being giving, being a servant is the same across the board. How we practice things, yes, that makes it different. But the real key, and like you're saying, is I want to get to the point of understanding submissive. See, that's the thing to me that gets lost when it's directed specifically at Black women. And this is what I mean. Because as I talked about this on season 1, is when you look at any other culture, submissiveness is to be celebrated. And I mean on anything, even in sports, even in any engagement, when you greet a queen, right? You are to what? Submit. You get down and you kneel. When you do certain things, like let's say karate, it's the same thing, right? It's a submissive stance. It's a sign of respect. So how in the world can the word be turned when it's talked about with us? And I think that's the point that Terrence is bringing up, where these men that really aren't doing what you said, James, right? When they're not doing their part, when they're not leading properly, that's when it becomes, oh, she's a problem. She's not respecting this, because submissiveness is an action. It's a willingness to, right? So women aren't submissive, men aren't submissive, but you can be submissive, giving the right pretense, right? If you're in a situation that will allow you to feel that you're respected, that you're heard, then these things will come naturally to you. They won't be forced upon you. And I think that's the point that we need to talk about. And I'm so glad to hear the distinction when you all speak, because it's so necessary for us as women to hear it, right? To know that it's only coming from a certain kind of man, but that needs to be voiced. And it shouldn't be because we're in different faiths or we're in different age groups, right? It's the concept, it's the understanding, it's the mindset. As always, when we're talking about anything, it's, do we really know what the meaning of this word is? Or are we just putting feelings on it and then throwing it at a certain demographic, which has happened to be us as Black women? So what would you like to bring to that, Kevin?
Wow, you guys have said a ton of great things, and um, all of it is hitting home and is correct. I wanted to share with you today something that I read on ESPN. Okay, if you go to ESPN website today, it'll have an article on there about Cam Newton. And Cam Newton today made a statement that basically said, got him in trouble somewhat. What he said was that he was talking about women, and he was saying women don't know when to shut up, and they don't know how to cook anymore. So what, in essence, what he was saying is that women don't know their place, and that they don't understand being submissive. That if we really boil down to the core of what he's saying. Now, having said that, I thought it was pretty applicable for us to have that figure, that sports figure, make such a profound statement.
After getting in trouble for the first statement he got in trouble for.
Absolutely, absolutely. So what he did not do is that he did not make himself an outlier in the conversation of relationship between man and woman. He is right center in terms of what we in our society believe is the appropriate way to interact between a husband, wife, and male and female. So I want to make sure that I don't outcast him to make him feel, make us believe that, oh my God, this dude is horrible. No. He's right down Main Street, because that's what a lot of men, and I won't just say Black men, I won't say religious men, I'm saying men in general, believe is the role of women, right? Well, if we're going to dissect this thing and drill deep into it, and I know we only got 30 minutes, but if we're going to dissect this, then we need to understand what submissive is not. We talk about what it is, but we need to really understand what it is not, and what it is not from a biblical perspective. And so if you got a piece of paper, you can write down Ephesians chapter 5, verse 22, 33, where all of this conversation really derives from. It derives from God speaking in the biblical sense, in the Quran sense, and in other senses. It derives saying, hey, listen, there's an order that needs to be in place in order for this car to move in the right direction. Every part of the car needs to function accordingly. And when it's not in its right place, then you got some hiccups that you got to deal with. And so what we have gotten into this thing, so again, I try not to go too into this, but what it is not servanthood. It is not inferiority. It's not being docile. It's not without a voice. It is not weakness. It is not a man having dominion. Dominion over his mate. It does not tell us to disregard or to demean. That's not what submissiveness is about. So those things are not a part of what this word is trying to articulate and put some sinew, some muscle, and some tenets on our relationship. It is not a humiliating experience for neither the woman nor the female. What it is biblical. Okay, it is biblical, and it is an attitude. It is a strength of character. The real piece of submissiveness is wisdom. Wisdom. So let me tell you why I say that. So my mom and dad, right? And you can go back and if your mom and dad, you grew up with your mom and dad, you can get this as well. My mom would understand how to relate to my dad. And it was through her wisdom that she was able to move us at certain times when my father was stuck, right? She understood that she could not go to him with a strong, firm hand, but because she was submissive in her view, she was able to exercise her wisdom. So let me tell you why wisdom was important. Because wisdom was allowing my father to maintain the headship that was really important, but it was also honoring him. So when we want to talk about submissiveness, if you get to the attitude, you're going to talk about how do you honor your mate?
Yes.
Okay, how do you honor him in that relationship? Okay, now James, and I think Terrence may have said it, and I heard Tajah say it as well. You used the word of respect. Okay, now that again is a biblical sense. So let's get back to Ephesians chapter 5, verse 22 through 33. The Bible does not. Yeah, the Bible does not tell the man, or the woman, to love his wife. Now hold on a second. The man is not, the woman is not told to love her husband. Excuse me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
Love your husband. It says respect.
Respect.
Respect, honor, submissive. So if you ever want to hear a man get into a heated battle with a woman, he is getting into a battle, and he'll say this constantly: you don't respect me. He don't know why he's saying that. He hasn't unearthed the biblical principles of it, but he knows in his DNA that he requires respect. Mm-hmm. So if there is a what's the word? What I'm looking for? An adulterous situation where a woman steps out on a man, the first thing that he will say, "You didn't respect me. You don't respect me." A man walks around needing respect. Conversely, a woman walks around needing love.
Love
as well. The husband is to love her as the church. Christ loved the church, right? So you, in that same scenario where an adulterous relationship has occurred, the woman will say to the man, "Do you love her?" Mm-hmm. Do you? Because she's getting right to the core of what's hurting her. Yeah, the action is bad, but she wants to unearth all of it and say, "Do you love her?" While the man is saying, "You disrespected me."
Okay.
And so while you are in that context, what's end up happening is that a man is seeking to be respected, and the woman is trying to love him. No, don't do that. Respect him, and he'll feel your love. Mm-hmm. He'll feel.
Okay, so what I want to ask in that sense then is, I think that's a very interesting take. And now, before I give my view on it, I want to see what you think about it.
How you know I felt some type of way?
You know why I went to you before you answers, because I think it's very key, and it gives a different take when there's a difference in age, because your viewpoint on things is going to give a different dynamic. And that's exactly why this is important, because as a culture, and I mean us, Black people, right? Women, men, young, different ages, whatever.
That's the key right there, though.
We need to talk about it. So yes.
It is, believe me, I know you have very more experience with what you're teaching, but the Bible is old, and I'm not saying it's not old for us not to remember or not to learn from it, but the generations that we are coming up with, we don't have that grandma no more that's actually like do what you're supposed to be doing, or your grandfather show you what's going on. Like, I don't know my grandfather. You know what I mean? My grandmother died almost 20 years ago. So for those people that are, and I'm blessed to want to learn, also go to church myself, but I'm learning every day that the Bible is and God is starting talking to a new generation. And us going to the Bible every time to learn. When I see the word submissive, and I if I was to go to the dictionary, I learn what that word is. And every other word in the Bible that I go to the dictionary, I learn what that word is. I seen churches, I've been to church, I'll go to church, and the interpretations of what a pastor would take or what a deacon would take or anyone would take, they would take that interpretation and switch it up on us. And you'd be like, what is that? And the word submissive, believe me, I love it, Pastor. I love what you're saying. But with this generation of young adults that's growing up, and they all going to school, they all going to church, and they're taking that word and they're taking the words of the Bibles literally, but not where you're taking it at. Like you're teaching your congregation that, and that's, believe me, I will go to your church in Nashville as soon as I get to Tennessee, because I love what you're saying. But what do we do with those that are taking that word literally and actually looking for love or looking for that type of woman and saying, that's the type of woman I need, and I can't get it from a Black woman? What do we do with that?
Is that directed to me?
No, to anyone. To anyone.
Oh, okay. I can add that. I can
Go
add
ahead.
to that.
Yes, go ahead.
Well, let me just make it very, very clear that all of us are a work in progress.
Absolutely.
And so the woman who comes into the relationship, she's coming into the relationship, if you don't mind me using this term, as ignorant as the man is.
Mm-hmm.
So the marriage is not a process where you get to take the test and then go do marriage. The test is marriage.
Oh, Kevin, wait a minute, hold on. You have to say that again. Say it again one more time in case the people didn't hear you. Please say that.
So it's not a process where you get to learn and take the test. The test is marriage. You are in the process of learning consistently. What you learn today is not what you'll learn tomorrow, but it's all developed on a foundation. Let me put it in a way that we can kind of understand this. When we first started to understand language, we started out with our ABCs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And regardless of how proficient we have become in our ability to articulate the King's language, we still are holding on to the foundation of our ABCs. And so when you speak of this new generation not being able to receive it or not being able to understand it, then I say get back to the basics. Get back to the basics, because that's not changing. The basic is not changing. And how I know that is not changing is because the disappointment and the hurt that young people feel in relationships is as profound today as it was back when my grandmother and my grandfather, and unless they and you and I and those that come after us hold on to the foundational pieces, then we can spring forth in the areas that we really want to spring forth in. And if not, what we'll end up doing is climbing a tree that was never meant for us to climb.
Right. And I think you guys made a couple of key points there, is that today's generation does not have the foundation. That's why they're struggling with that word submissive. Yeah. Seriously. That's why they're taking the world, that's a world view on it. That is truly a world view. And to my brother there, hey, that didn't have the grandmother, didn't have the grandfather, didn't have someone to kind of lay that foundation. Yeah, a lot of brothers are lost because we're in some really transitional times as it relates to male and female, and especially Black men and Black women. Look at all the change that has happened in the last 60, 80 years. The right to vote, women working now, women not needing a man, some women not needing a man.
Last week, we got our first Black woman judge.
I mean, these are like monumental changes that have all happened within 2 generations.
Mhm.
within 2 generations.
Yes.
We've seen the role of Black women change significantly in the last just 2 generations. And what has happened to the Black man? Black men, for the most part, they haven't changed from a legal standpoint or rights and so forth, pretty much been the same. But because the Black woman's role has changed, that's what caused the Black man's role to change. So we've now have had to learn this new role. Wow, am I a leader? Am I a follower? Am I, up? Am I down? And we're kind of blowing in the wind that's being really, the sail has been set by Black women. Okay, as Black women get certain rights and certain, confidence and, education, even education. I mean, I don't know statistics, but I would
different subject. We don't need to talk about that right now, please.
probably more Black women in colleges right now than Black men. I'm pretty sure there is. I don't have the actual statistic. I'm sure there's probably more Black women.
No, there definitely is. Yeah.
Getting master's degrees, getting doctorate degrees. I mean, that education is what going to create a level of wisdom, which is going to create a level of power, a level of respect. I mean, all of that flows. So I'm just saying, we're in some serious transitional times as Black men because of some of the effects and positive change that has happened with our Black women.
Yes, I love all of this. And it's like so much for me to try to recap, but I got to just speak to all the points because first, when you talk about being lost, right? And I think that's us as a culture because of what Terrence is speaking on as far as our generation. There's no foundation. And when there's no foundation, you are susceptible to anything and everything. And you'll lead by what's, what do you call that? Exciting, right? By what it seems or deemed to be most popular. And right now, with social media being at the tips of everybody's finger, there's no reason to go to the dictionary. There's no reason to go to the Bible or the Quran, right? I'm going to listen to him because I like him and that's what he said. Like if you're a fan of Cam Newton, oh, well, he said this, he's right. They aren't cooking. They aren't submissive. No, that's who you're dating, right? Maybe take some ownership and decide you need to change up the people that you're dating, right? Your pool isn't big enough. And again, with that, if you are lost, what can't you do? Lead, okay? If you do not respect somebody, you don't really love them. And that's in any side. That's man versus woman, woman on man. And so for me, when I hear that, when I hear a first thing about if it was adultery, right? My first thing isn't going to be, do you love her? You know what my thing is going to be? I know you don't respect me. That is what my thing is going to be. Now, I can't speak for every woman, and I do know women who would, that's the first thing they'll go do is look that woman up. Does he love her? I don't care one bit. I care about what we took these vows on, what that foundation is, right? Because see, I respect myself. And that is the point that, again, Kevin, when you talked about what submissive isn't, I love that because I am big on what submissive is. Because if you go to the dictionary, the word does not change depending on who says it. But see, the rest of the words around it is what changes. When someone says something to you, how they say it makes you feel a certain type of way. It might not be what they said. And see, that's the take on submissive. And that's the reason why women, especially us, get offended when people say it because it's the connotation. But do we know what that is, right? That's not the word itself, but the connotation someone puts on something can make it very different to you. But see, when you know what submissive is, you don't take offense to it. You just understand that that's Cam Newton and that's who he did. And I like Cam, but I could care for that statement because it wouldn't apply to me. And see, that's what we have to start understanding and learning when you hear certain things that you don't like. When men feel as if, James, you made a great point when saying, because of the strides us as Black women have been making, and I'm proud to be among that group of getting my PhD right now, but I still know my foundation, my Quran tells me my husband must lead this house. No matter how educated I am, no matter how much money I make, right? That is the role I'm supposed to take because in the Quran, it tells me I am the neck but he is the head. And you know what that makes me comforted and know? He can't do anything without me, right? And nor can I do anything without him. Again, like James, when you're married, you become one. That is the key. If we stop worrying about, the world saying, oh, women are taking these advances and the men are going to be set back, not taking account for a lot of our men are shackled, are not, properly guided, don't have foundation is the reason why we have to take these strides so we can provide. And we stop letting them get to us, then we as a union, when we do come together, can be stronger. But you can only do that when you have foundation, right? When you have your Bible, when you have your Quran, when you have your Torah, when you have your pastor, imam, whatever it is, right? You have to have those foundations, because when the world takes that role on you and put that connotation in your group, you have to let them know that that's not going to affect me, because we're grounded. We're grounded by foundation, right? We have resources. So my take to you, Terrence, would be you connect with Kevin, you connect with James, you connect with a real brotherhood, right? And I know you have your people, but this is for everyone who's listening, who has similar stories, who don't think they have someone to connect with. These men are always willing to help and give advice and to share light. And surely I am as well. But I think just as much as Black women need Black women, Black men need Black men. You need positive figures to help address topics like this that really hinder our community. That's my point.
Let me add to that. And I think James, if I can get back to James's point, and that Tajah mentioned as well, about the advancement of Black women in our current corporate, educational, and in societal ways. They have made advancement, but I want to just share with you that that's not new. That's not new. It's not new from our history here in America. The Black woman has always had leadership. Has always had leadership. So
talk about it.
That's not new, but it's not even new biblically. So if you go back to a virtuous woman, it says in that virtuous woman that she will sell her wares at the city gates. That means that she's an entrepreneur, that she's in the business environment, that she is not sitting in the home solely. She is out in the community providing a process or something to the family. So when it talks about a virtuous woman, it does not say a virtuous woman is one who is submissive and is in the house cooking. And no. She shopped her wares. She is an entrepreneur. She is a businesswoman. And we don't see that in the process. And because we don't see that and we're not taught that, then what we do as Black men, we say, sit down and get in your place. Sit down. That ain't where you're supposed to be. I am the provider. I am the protector. I am the priest, the pastor, the savior of this household. I am. And yes, you are. But part of that is to make sure that you are that servant leader. So it goes back to Ephesians chapter 5, verse 22 and 33. If you're going to be the head of the house, right, there is a process that you must endure. And what does that process look like? That process starts at the feet. So what does that feet mean? That means that you are a servant to your family. You are a servant. And if you're going to get to the headship like Christ loved the church, he's the headship, he started with feet, washing feet, serving others, being what they needed to see. He modeled it, and then he rose to the headship. He didn't start at the headship, he started at the bottom, right? We're in Holy Week, right? This is Holy Week. And last Sunday, I'm preaching here, so y'all hold on to me.
Look, it works. We're in my holy month. We're in Ramadan.
Yeah.
So
this last week was Palm Sunday, right? And what happened on Palm Sunday? Jesus came into the holy city on a donkey,
Amen.
Lowly status. So he's teaching us as men that we cannot be the headship if we don't learn how to serve. If we don't learn how to serve, we can't. And he puts the onus on us. Who's supposed to raise the kids? It ain't the woman. It says the man is supposed to raise the kids.
Wait, what you
But
say? Who's supposed to do it?
The men are. I know that's a difficult because we don't want to, we only pick and choose. We pick and choose what the
Like that
Bible
sound like
is
a whole
really
nother
trying to teach
conversation.
us.
Yep.
Right? But if
I
we're
think I
really
said
going
that.
to, huh?
I think I said that.
Yeah, I didn't hear it.
I
Yeah,
definitely
oh, yeah, we pick and choose.
Yeah,
But
we
if
pick
we're
and
going to
choose
be
what we want to look
men,
at.
if we're going to be men who are worthy of the submissiveness of our spouses, of our love of our wives, then we got work to do.
Right.
We got work to do. Don't put the ownership on the wife. My wife is she's always nagging and is all. Well, the Bible said it's better for you to live on the rooftop than to live with a nagging wife, saying we are the ones that cause the nagging.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
We are the ones because they are looking for headship, and we're not in our proper perspective. Oh my God, they get upset. So their attitude changed. They use that 25,000 words that they got in their system every day to let us know that we're not the man that we're supposed to be, and we only got 12,000 words to say to them, and we say, let my yes be my yes and my no be my no. I ain't gonna explain it. I'm gonna be, and that don't work.
That's right.
It doesn't work.
And I'm here to tell you, you cannot be on a team, right? If you cannot lead. Or let me say that the other way. I mean, you cannot lead and not know how to be on a team.
That's right.
It does not work. It does not work. You must understand what it means to be on a team in order to lead them properly. So to be in a team, be in a marriage, be in a union, to understand that, to take heed to that foundation, that is when everybody on the team will submit. LeBron don't have a trouble being the captain, right? No one has trouble with him leading the team. No one. They submit to what? A play he want to call, what he want to do, if he want the ball at the end. They do.
I see that face, Terrence.
No,
I see that face, Terrence.
You can make
that face.
We're not talking about them this year, okay?
You know.
Give another example, please.
Look, fan or not, you know, if you are.
Michael Jordan don't have a problem with leading. Let's say that.
And so what that means is when you're on a marriage, again, on a team, in a union, all right, you have no problem submitting. And that's on both sides, a man too. He knows when she's right and she knows when he is right, right? But those things don't have to be said. You don't have to say, oh, my wife is submissive. No, you have a good wife and I have a good husband. Because he leads doesn't mean he controls me. You understand? And see, those are the things that we have to watch the words. And it's not the words, I'm sorry. We have to watch the connotation. So
is that the issue though for you? So let me switch up for you, okay? Is that the issue for you and Black women that you hate the word submissive?
I don't hate it. Don't say that. I don't hate it.
I don't like the word. I think it sound less than. I do. However, today, how we use it today, I don't like it.
Correct.
Right.
I agree with that.
In the
Yes,
in the visible sense of what the interpretation is, the picture of what submissive is different how I see it compared to how people are using the word and showing that it should be. Mm-hmm. So that's my issue. So is it more that you don't like the word of how it's using today in a modern text?
Yes, I'm more of bringing the light to it, because what I want for my community, right? I can care less on what everyone else's take is on it, even how they're directing it. But for us to own what we know, right, is to clear it up. So I'm here to clear it up. So I wanted to clear it up with the women so we understand what the word means itself, right? It's a willingness to. It is, I love him. I love this. I understand our union, right? I understand my position. Again, like I said, I'm the neck. So no matter what he thinks, he can't do anything without me, but I can't do anything without him. And the more you understand that you need each other, opposed to that worldview that's telling you you don't, you will learn how to focus. You will learn how to get to your foundation, like Kevin was talking about. So that is my thing. And then to make it a full picture was to then bring the men. And I brought strong men with different perceptions and different backgrounds here, because it's necessary to also then for these women to hear your take, because none of us like the way submissiveness is being used. But hear what I said, the way it's being used. That is not what the word means.
Correct.
So we have to be very cognizant of how we allow words to be played on us, especially in our culture, because they'll tell you a lot of things about us, right? But if you don't believe it for you, and if you don't want that for your daughter, like you started off in this conversation, then you make sure that she truly understands the word. And then see, there's nothing wrong with the word, but you make sure that she gets a right man who's in the right foundation under the right leadership, so that when she is submissive, that she is doing that for the right person, and that he is too. You understand? Because there's a lot of leaders leading you in the wrong direction. You know, plus
also understanding how it's illustrated. Once she see that it is not the today's generation term of submissive, but see that it's love and respect,
and honor.
Exactly. And honor. It's
if
almost,
that was shown first, I'm okay with that.
Let me just throw something out here with Terrence, because I think Terrence is right on point in regards to what today submissive is. It's a 4-letter word. You might as well cuss that person out. You might as well. I mean, it's out of the wedding vows. It's such a demeaning word. It doesn't even apply to how we believe we are to live our lives, especially as free Black people. I ain't subjected to nobody. I am my own free will agent. Well, that is true, but I want you to know that the world has Jedi mind tricked us. They have Jedi mind tricked us in the way that Satan has Jedi mind tricked us in a lot of different ways. He's Jedi mind tricked us in terms of relationships, in terms of sexual or orientation, in terms of how we are to see life. We are to open up and say all is well. Well, that's not the truth. Because what it does, it keeps taking us down this rabbit hole that we can't find our way out of. Why does Gen X and why do this new generation have such a problem with it? Because we're in a rabbit hole. We're in a rabbit hole with this word, and this word does not allow for us to get what we actually want. What we actually want. It is veering us away from it, but there's a joy that comes with the attitude of having a servant spirit. There's a joy that comes along with those sorts of things, but we've been turned against that, right?
Right.
A joy that's supposed to be coming with us having sexual relationship and not feeling dirty about it, right? It's all of those sort of things, and we just been Jedi mind tricked.
And I think to get it back to perspective, and I know that you guys are loving this topic, and I definitely know it's going to be a continuation, but I would say for anyone who struggles with that point of understanding and getting lost in connotations and tenses that put on things, think about it in this view. When you go to an employer, right? If you ever went to an employer or on a team and they ask you, and they know that you're a great leader, right? They see your skill set, they see your disposition, but what's that thing they ask you when you're coming to them, right? Or they're going to want you to be a partnership. They ask you if you're coachable, right? Think about it in that sense when you're in a marriage and relationship, because yes, you are coming to lead, but can you be coached? Can you be guided? Those are the people that you want to be with. They don't think they have every right answer. You don't want to get in any kind of marriage, any union, any partnership with someone who cannot be submissive, right? So it is a good thing. So I just want to say this would have been a lovely episode of Talk to Me Tuesday. We'll see you next week.
Know you are. You're the most beautiful thing in the world. If he won't tell you, then you know I will, girl. If you got nothing, you have these words from your girl. Know you are. Ooh, beautiful thing in